Some places seem forgotten, but memories there never rest. What you're about to hear might chill your spine and question what really happened. Follow now and listen to the voices from the dark. Episode 1: The Man in the Leather Jacket. I didn't know I was no longer alive. I just remember the cold of the gun barrel and his laughter echoing through the dark forest. If you're hearing me, then maybe you're standing somewhere near the edge of Highway I-80, crossing through Nevada, in the middle of the night. Maybe you just stopped at Jefferson Flats rest stop, the one no one ever visits twice. Or maybe you wandered into the woods afterward, like I once did. My name is Marcus Eastwood, 27 years old. I used to love long road trips, pulling over in strange towns, taking vintage photos, drinking bad coffee, and listening to country music on the radio. But that was when I was still alive. I don't know exactly when I died. All I know is everything began the moment I pulled into Jefferson Flats rest stop at 10:17 p.m. I only wanted to use the restroom, but I met him, and now I'm telling you this so you, anyone still listening, will remember. If you see an old sedan pull up right next to your car without reason, if the driver steps out wearing a brown leather jacket and old black shoes, drive away. Don't turn around, even if he smiles, even if he calls you, because the moment you hear that, hey, you're already dead. I was on my way to Sacramento to meet my cousin after 4 years apart. Instead of flying like usual, I chose to drive. I wanted a trip worth telling. The trip went smoothly until day 3. At the time, I thought I had just a few hours left, but then night fell. The streetlights grew scarce, and exhaustion crept in like a dull blade slowly slicing into my eyelids. 9:45 p.m. I started looking for a place to stop. Jefferson Flats appeared like an oasis in the pitch-black desert. An old building, flickering fluorescent lights, a few vending machines, and separate restrooms for men and women. I parked, stretched, took a breath. The rest stop was empty. I felt relieved not to be around people, but something felt off. I just didn't know. I wasn't the only one who came there that night. I had just stepped into the restroom for a few minutes, then walked back to the vending machines. I was about to buy a can of Red Bull when I heard the sound of another car pulling up beside mine. There were dozens of empty spots, but that car, an old gray sedan, parked right next to mine. I felt annoyed. What kind of person parks that close, I thought. But I told myself I was just tired, overthinking. I bought the drink, took a sip, turned around. He stepped out of the car, tall, thin, wearing an old brown leather jacket, hands always in his pockets, a rough beard like he hadn't shaved in days. He stared straight at me, didn't blink. I've never seen eyes that empty. Not angry, not happy, not crazy, just empty, like the bottom of a well. He walked toward me. I didn't move. When he got closer, I nodded. He nodded back. I thought that was it. I thought he was just some weird guy, until he spoke. Hey. I turned around and looked straight into a gun barrel, a 9mm, pitch black, brand new. He smiled, not the smile of a killer, the smile of someone enjoying his own joke. What's the rush? He said. I raised my hands. I don't want trouble. Give me the watch, wallet, phone. I obeyed, hands shaking, heart exploding in my chest. He took the stuff, nodded, but not toward the rest stop. He pointed toward the woods. Go, he said. I refused. He loaded the gun. I walked. We went deeper into the forest. Each step, my heartbeat pounded like a funeral drum. He told me to stop, to turn and face him. I obeyed. Distance, 2 meters. Kneel, he said. I cried. I begged. I thought of my mom, of childhood, of my bedroom upstairs with the night lamp shaped like a spaceship. I closed my eyes. Bang, bang, bang. Gunshots. I fell. Mud and leaves smeared across my face. My heart stopped. I waited for the pain. There was none. I waited for the cold. Nothing. I opened my eyes. He was still standing there laughing like a lunatic. "Go home, kid. Don't forget to wash your pants," he said. Then he turned and vanished into the dark. I got up, stumbled back to the rest stop, looked at myself in the restroom mirror, red, swollen, wet from tears and snot. I was still alive. I called the police, filed a report, left town the next morning, but ... Ever since that night, I've never seen myself clearly in any mirror again. Every time I look, I only see a blur lingering behind my eyes, like someone standing next to me, but not really there. I'm not dreaming. I know the feeling. I'm still trapped. I don't know if I died that night, or if I'm still alive. Maybe he didn't kill me with bullets, but with the fear that left my soul unable to return to my body. And you stop to pee at midnight. And you see a car parked close to yours for no reason. And you see a man step out, wearing a brown leather jacket, hands always in his pockets. And he smiles, then says, "Hey, don't turn around. Don't answer. Don't hesitate, because when you hear that word, I'll meet you on the other side." In the woods, where his laughter still echoes. Episode 2. The Shadow Following the Wheels. I used to be a truck driver. Now, I'm the thing people see in their rearview mirror, right before it all ends. My name is Dan Halloway. I drove trucks for over 26 years. All seasons, day and night. Across states, through deserts, and through lands even the locals fear to name. I used to think I'd seen it all. Accidents, tornadoes, bears blocking the road, pedestrians that looked like ghosts in the night. But I'd never seen that shadow. The shadow that took everything from me. My body, my career, and my soul. Now, I don't drive anymore. I just drift along the stretch of road where it all happened. Quiet, cold, waiting for the next one. It happened on a November night, a few years ago. I was hauling industrial supplies from Salt Lake City to southern Nevada. Dark skies, empty roads. 4 a.m. that hour, when the world seems to hold its breath. I was driving through a stretch of endless highway. Forest on both sides, black as a tomb. Then the rain came. No warning, not in the forecast. Rain fell like the sky had been punctured. I slowed down, switched to yellow beams. The wheel felt tighter, the road slick. But that wasn't the worst part. The worst part was when I saw headlights coming straight at me. At first, I thought it was a black SUV, bright beams, swerving like the driver lost control. But something was wrong. The headlights didn't light up the road. The vehicle cast no reflection on the wet pavement. And as it got closer, no engine sound. I swerved. Just in time, my truck lost grip, skidded, spun. The last thing I heard was steel screaming on asphalt, then metal crunching as the cab flipped. I woke up in darkness, smoke, oil. The copper stench of blood hung in the air like fog. I couldn't feel my legs, couldn't move, but I was alive. I heard footsteps, someone approaching, an older man, and a young guy ran up. I mouthed words. They called an ambulance. Saved me. On the way to the hospital, I blacked out again. In that haze, I saw that vehicle, just sitting by the road. No lights, no plate. But I knew it was the same one. I lived, but I wasn't me anymore. Spinal trauma, brain injury, paralyzed from the waist down. Weeks in the hospital, my body unmoving, but my mind was hunted. I'd wake around 2 or 3 a.m., always feeling like someone was standing at the foot of the bed. Then one night, I saw him, a tall black figure. No face, no shape, but cold. So cold, even the room heater meant nothing. He just stood there, unmoving. I couldn't scream, couldn't move, just lay there waiting to die. But death never came. Then one night, he whispered, not with a mouth, but a sound that drilled straight into my mind. I was a driver too. That rainy night, couldn't swerve in time. The oncoming car wasn't real, but it killed me. Now all that's left of me is hunger, a hunger to drag someone else in, so I can rest. He wasn't human, not anymore, and I knew he was done. Now it was my turn. After that, he disappeared. I was discharged weeks later, but I never saw my face clearly in any mirror again, only a blur. Trembling like water, I found the man who saved me. Asked him, "Did you see a black SUV coming the wrong way?" He shook his head. "I was right behind your truck. There was no other vehicle." My heart froze. The SUV wasn't real, but it took my life. I'm not alive anymore. Even if my body still breathes, still eats, still sleeps. I know because, ... Every time someone crashes on that stretch of road, I see them in my dreams. They run, they scream. They see the same shadow I did. And now, if you're driving that road at night, ... If it rains, ... If your fog lights flicker, ... Look closely in your rearview mirror. If you see a black SUV sliding past, silent, casting no light, don't swerve, just close your eyes, keep going. Believe there's nothing there, because if you dodge it, I'll take his place, and you'll take mine. Episode 3. The Cabin in the Woods with No Way Out. I used to think helping others was the right thing, until it killed me, and no one remembered I ever existed. I'm Logan Miles, 46, a long-haul truck driver. I lived by the unwritten rule of the road. If you see another driver in trouble, you stop and help. I never questioned that, until that fateful night on a forest road cutting through the Ozarks, near the Missouri border. On my way to St. Louis, I saw an old pickup parked on the shoulder. The hood was popped open. A short, stocky man in a flannel shirt waved at me like a dying man begging for water. I didn't know. I was the one dying of thirst. Thirst for life, for a chance to escape the place I was about to step into, and never return. I pulled over a few meters ahead of the broken-down truck. The man ran up and shook my hand, desperate. "Thanks, man. I'm Neil. Been stuck here since the afternoon. The engine just won't start." I looked around. Dusk was fading. The road was sinking into forest shadows. No cell signal. No houses. Nearby. Neil asked for a ride to the nearest town, about 20 miles away. I hesitated, but thought, it's just a short ride. Helping someone isn't wrong. I was wrong. Wrong to the bone. We had only gone about 10 miles when I noticed 2 black cars behind us. No headlights, no plates, but their beams shined like animal eyes. They tailed us closely, didn't pass, didn't slow down. I asked, "Neil, you know anyone in those cars?" He said nothing, but sweat poured down his face. A few minutes later, the 2 cars sped forward and cut us off on a narrow dirt path. 3 men stepped out, guns drawn, out of the truck. Now, they barked. That's when I knew I'd walked right into a trap. Neil and I were dragged out, hands tied, wallets taken, phones gone, truck keys gone. I stayed calm, hoping this was just a roadside robbery, but they didn't take the truck, didn't leave. Instead, they forced me back into the cab. Neil was shoved into one of their cars. We were driven deeper into the forest. The phone signal dropped, then vanished completely. Eventually, we stopped at a rundown wooden cabin. No power, no people, no windows. They tied us up, threw us onto a dusty sofa, and left laughing. "Don't go anywhere," one of them said. Then they disappeared forever. I struggled for an hour to loosen the ropes. Every twist dug the cords deeper into my skin, but I had to try, because if we stayed, they'd return. Next time with real guns. Next time, there'd be no escape. I finally freed myself. Freed Neil. We stepped out of the cabin, into darkness, like rising floodwaters. No road, no direction, no light. We followed. Our instincts reversed the path the truck had taken. An hour later, we found the road. but there was no truck, no tire marks, nothing, just an empty highway, as if none of it had ever happened. We tried to flag down a car. Eventually, a silver sedan stopped. The driver was an old man with cautious eyes. I spoke fast. Kidnapping, guns, cabin in the woods. He nodded, let us in, drove us to the Ellington police station. The cops listened, wrote everything down. They sent officers to check, but no cabin, no truck, no tire tracks, nothing. I called my company. No one answered. I searched for my truck's records. No trace. No one knew who Logan Miles was. Neil disappeared after we parted ways at the rest stop. His phone number does not exist. I went to my house in Arizona. Someone else had lived there for 3 years. That's when I began to understand. I no longer belonged to this world. Maybe I died in that cabin. Maybe I'm just a spirit who thinks he's still alive. I still stand there every night, on that road, right before the fog rolls in, right before someone stops to help a stranger next to a broken down truck. Neil, if that's even his real name, still stands there every sunset, beside the old pickup, hood open. If you see him, don't stop. Don't roll down your window. Don't ask, need some help? Because if you do, you'll never leave that cabin, and no one will remember you ever existed. I am Logan Miles, or I was, now ... I'm just part of a patch of forest that no one marks on a map. Episode 4. The smell of burned meat on the taco truck. I never knew his name, but I remember the smell of burned meat that night, and the hand no one was wearing anymore. My name is Elliot Granger, 38 years old, night shift worker at a construction site outside a small town in Arizona. Every night, after a long 12-hour shift, I drive down Route 88, and at the intersection between the highway and the RV park lot, there's a taco truck. No sign, no music, no neon lights, just an old silver-white truck, peeling paint, and a man with a gentle but quiet face, always looking down, working at the grill. I'd stopped there over 40 times. I ate tacos, drank soda, sometimes made small talk. Never once did I ask his name, and that was the biggest mistake of my life. One August night, hot as hell, I stopped by the usual taco truck, but this time was different. No cellar, no light inside, no smell of meat, no sound, just a faint burnt scent like melting plastic, and a thin stream of smoke rising from the grill's vent. I waited for a few minutes, thought maybe he went to the bathroom or was fixing something out back, but no one came. I called out, "Hey, you've got something burning on the grill." No reply, and the smoke got thicker. I walked around to the side of the truck, where there was a small entrance door and a folding metal stair. The door was unlocked. I opened it. First thing I saw was the cash drawer thrown open, coins scattered. No sign of a struggle, but it looked like a robbery. I stepped in deeper. The burnt smell was strong now, thick, suffocating, burning the inside of my nose. I climbed the 3 metal steps to the grill area, then looked to the left, and I saw it, a human hand, burned black, lying flat on the glowing grill. Fingers curled, like still trying to grab something. Skin blistered, peeled, torn. A bit of bone showing at the wrist. No blood left, but the smell of charred meat filled every breath I took. I stumbled back, slipped, fell down the stairs. My heart was pounding like it was trying to break out of my chest. I got up, hands shaking, ran outside, and called 911. I told them about the hand, about the smell, about the missing man. They told me to wait. I waited nearly an hour, but no one came. The next morning, I went back to the spot. The taco truck was gone. No tire marks, no oil spills. No one remembered seeing a truck parked there. I called the police again. They said there were no reports from that area, no calls from my number. I wondered, am I going crazy? Or did it really happen? But I remember clearly, The smell of burned human flesh isn't something you imagine. And the hand. I still see it every time I close my eyes. I started searching. I went online with keywords like missing taco truck owner, burned hand, taco truck robbery. I looked through driver forums, Reddit groups about strange phenomena, even local papers. Then, on an old broken website, I found a post from 1997. Saw a taco truck with no sign at an RV stop. Next day, Taco Man disappeared. No body found. Just the smell of burned meat. The post included a crude drawing, a blackened hand on a grill. After learning that truth, I stopped sleeping, stopped eating, lost my memory. One day I woke up in bed but didn't see my reflection in the mirror. No image, no shadow, no breath fogging the glass. I was no longer alive. I returned to the place where the truck had once stood and I saw it, the taco truck, lights on, smoke rising, but no one inside. I opened the door, stepped in, and the smell of burned meat welcomed me like an old friend. I don't know why I was chosen. I don't know what happened to the old owner. I only know that each night I stand behind the grill. No one sees my face. No one asks my name. And then, when someone leans in and calls out, "Anyone here selling tacos?" I smile. I nod. I light the fire. I grill the meat. Will you stop to eat? If you pass Route 88 at midnight and see a taco truck with no sign, if you see smoke rising but no one inside, if you smell grilled meat but see no stove, don't step in. Don't call out. Don't ask the seller's name, because if you do, I might ask you, "What's your name?" And if you don't answer, you'll be the next one behind the grill. Episode 5. The Eye Through the Stall Door. I never saw his face, but he saw mine, and that stare has kept me trapped in that bathroom stall ever since. My name is Kevin Matheson. I was 22 years old, a senior, majoring in archaeology. I used to love solo trips, especially those one-day road adventures. Wake up early, visit a few sites, come back late, save money on motels. Sounds reasonable, right? But I died because of something small. Sleeping in my car overnight at a highway rest stop. Not because of robbers, not a crash, not a ghost at least not the kind you're thinking of. I died because of an eye peeking through a bathroom stall door, something I never dared to tell anyone until now. That summer, I took a solo trip from Flagstaff back home. I drove since sunrise, stopping at a few minor archaeological sites, took photos, made notes. By nightfall, I was too exhausted to continue. I pulled into a quiet rest stop off I-17, about 70 miles from the city. I was the only car there. Dim yellow lights overhead. The main building looked abandoned, the flickering fluorescent lights buzzing like they were about to die. I locked my doors, reclined my seat, and set an alarm to nap for an hour. Just a short rest. But when I woke up, I had to pee. So I went into the restroom, the place I never really came back from. The building was dead silent. No footsteps, no running water, no vending machines humming. I entered the men's room, opened a stall, and locked it behind me. As I sat down, I heard whispering outside, a low, garbled mutter, like it came from a moldy throat. I froze, tried to make out the words, but it wasn't English, not Spanish, not anything I recognized. Then, the door creaked open. I held my breath, bare feet, dragging, scraping. They passed my stall, then stopped. An eye pressed against the gap in the door, unblinking, motionless, wide open, heavy-lidded, the pupil blown out, the whites cloudy like spoiled milk. I panicked. "There's someone in here," I shouted, hoping to scare them off. But the eye didn't move. Instead, a faint rasping sound came, almost a laugh, but warped. Then it started banging its head against the door. Thunk, 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 each slam harder than the last. I pressed my whole body against the stall door, heart about to burst. I screamed, kicked the door open, slammed into the thing. It was too light, like a hollow shell. I ran out of the restroom, across the parking lot, fumbling with my keys. I jumped in, started the engine, and drove off faster than I ever had in my life. But when I checked the rearview mirror, he was still standing at the entrance, not chasing, just standing there, staring, unblinking. I got home around 4 a.m., didn't tell anyone. What could I say that anyone would believe? But then, strange things started happening. I couldn't see my reflection anymore. My parents didn't hear me enter the house. My friends never replied to my texts. My dog didn't bark when I came home. I went online, tried to look up that rest stop. Nothing. No name, no coordinates, no map pin. Only one old anonymous post. If you ever see an eye through the stall, Dordo, respond. Don't open it. Don't run. If you do, you're not you anymore. I'm not Kevin anymore. No friends, no family. I don't get hungry, don't get thirsty, don't need sleep, but I drift from one rundown rest stop to another across America. Every night, I wake up inside a different bathroom stall, sitting still, waiting for someone to open the door, waiting for eyes to meet mine. And when they do, I become them, and they become me. So if you ever stop to pee late at night, if the restroom seems completely empty, if you pick a stall and hear bare feet dragging across the floor, cover your eyes. Don't look through the gap. Don't answer the whispers. Don't open the door, because if you do, you'll be the one slamming your head against it, hoping someone's still inside. Episode 6. The Nameless Man in the Food Truck. I used to be a regular. I used to smile at him, but I never asked his name, and that's why I can't leave this truck anymore. My name is Ernesto Jimenez. I used to be an electrical engineer at a solar farm on the edge of Arizona, over an hour's drive from the nearest town. Every night, after my shift, I'd spend 90 minutes driving home across deserts, trailer parks, and unmarked land, and I always stopped at the same food truck. An old silver-paneled thing, no signs, no menu. But it had the one thing I needed after a long day: hot tacos and quiet. The man inside always greeted me with gentle eyes. He never asked where I was from. I never asked his name. I figured strangers don't need to know names. But I was wrong. That night, I remember it exactly, was a hot October Monday. The wind felt like dessert breath. I'd worked 14 hours, and I had only 2 things on my mind: beef tacos and a cold soda. When I pulled into the lot beside the food truck, everything looked the same. Dim lights, a bit of smoke from the grill, but no one was inside. I waited a few minutes, called out softly, "Hey man, I'm here." No answer. I looked up and then I smelled it. Something burning. Not meat, not oil. Skin. Human skin. I walked to the side door. The metal steps were still solid, the handle ice cold. I pulled it, unlocked. Inside was darker than usual. The burnt smell was stronger. I raised my voice. "Hey, are you okay? You've got something burning back here." Still no answer. I stepped inside. The floor was sticky, like someone had just run through in a panic. On the counter, the cash drawer was flipped, coins scattered, foil wrappers everywhere. I moved toward the grill, and then it wasn't meat on the grill. It was a human hand, charred, blackened, fingers curled in pain, still wearing a wedding ring. I stumbled back, nausea slamming into me like a wave. I bolted outside, grabbed my phone, called the cops. There's been a murder. Food truck near the RV camp, off Highway 163. They said they'd send someone. I waited. 30 minutes, 40, an hour. No sirens, no lights, no one came. That's when I started to doubt not the murder, but myself. The next day, I returned. The food truck was gone. No tire marks, no smoke, no smell. I asked people living nearby. No one had ever seen a taco truck like the one I described. I went online, searched every keyword I could think of. Taco truck missing, Arizona hand burned on grill, food truck disappearance. Nothing. No articles. No news. No photos. I checked Reddit, glitch in the matrix. True creepy stories. Found one post from 2012. Never eat at the nameless taco truck in Arizona. The vendor always disappears, and if you go looking, you become his replacement. I told my coworkers. They laughed, said I needed sleep. I told my brother. He thought I was hallucinating from exhaustion. I went to the local police. They had no matching reports. Said no one received a call that night. I showed them my phone log. The call was gone. Even the call history had vanished. I don't remember exactly when I died. I only remember waking up inside the truck, my hands flipping a taco, smoke rising. Outside, someone just pulled up. I saw headlights reflecting off the steel walls. I wanted to yell, "Don't come in," but my mouth said something else. "Evening, sir. What filling today?" I watched myself smile, but that shape wasn't mine anymore. And it wasn't anyone else's either. I never asked the taco man his name, and now I don't have one for anyone to ask. If you're ever driving through the Arizona desert at midnight, if you see a silver food truck with no signs, if the smell of charred meat drifts into your car, don't stop, don't step up. And if you do, don't ask, "What's your name?" Because I won't answer. I'll just flip the meat and say, "Name doesn't matter. What matters is eating it hot and staying forever." Episode 7. The Connector. We all died in different ways, but it all started from the same place and the same person. Who's speaking to you? My name is Rebecca Kane, former agent of the Federal Cybercrime Unit, specializing in bizarre disappearances, linked to GPS signals, tracking devices, dashcams, personal satellites. Now, I'm a spirit. No one knows when I died. No one remembers I ever existed. But I remember everything. I connected the pieces, the ones they couldn't see. Logan, Elliot, Kevin, Ernesto, and the nameless man in the woods. And now, I tell it to you. The last one who can still hear me. The deaths that weren't recorded. 6 disappearances. 6 people. 6 scattered locations across the western states. Logan Miles, trucker, lured into Missouri woods, vanished with his rig. Elliot Granger, solar engineer, disappeared after calling cops about a burned hand on a grill. Neil, the hitchhiker, no ID, no records, no existence. Kevin Matheson, student, vanished in a rest stop bathroom that doesn't appear on any map. Ernesto Jimenez, taco truck regular. No hospital record, no police report, no next of kin. The man in the leather jacket, no fingerprints, but his name appeared in 3 missing persons reports, each with a different identity. I thought it was coincidence, until I saw what they all shared. One link, just one small link. One of the devices I investigated was a dash cam. It had strange footage from the rest stop where Kevin disappeared. I extracted the data. Among the image files, one odd file stood out. No format, just a name. A_key_from_somewhere. RHTML. I shouldn't have clicked it, but I did. A website with no way back. The screen showed a map of the US, but scattered across it, red dots. Clicking on each revealed a static audio clip, breathing, crackling fire, a blurry still like from an old security cam, a cryptic line of text. I clicked on one. I saw his eyes through the door crack. Gives Kevin. Another. I ate tacos there 47 times. Gives Ernesto. Each dot was a victim. Each dot, an unrecorded death. Each dot, a doorway to a loop. Already built. The one who builds doors. I traced the IP. No one's supposed to make it that far, but I was an agent. Buried in the old host data, I found a name. The caretaker. One single voice recording -11 seconds. A man laughing. Then, each person is a key. I don't keep them. They just don't leave. I kept digging. Found a pattern. Every loop happened in GPS dead zones lasting exactly 1 minute. Every location was isolated, at night, always involving a stranger with no traceable identity. And no one remembered the missing, except me, because I clicked the link, loops, and the spirits who stay, they didn't just die. They were forced to become parts of a cycle, a staged horror for the next person. Logan became the voice in the woods. Kevin became the eye behind the door. Elliot became the one cooking meat on the taco truck. Ernesto became the taco vendor. Neil, already a trapped soul, played the one who needs help, luring new victims in. None of them could leave, because a hand outside held them in. The one who built these doors, the caretaker, didn't kill anyone. He just opened the doors and watched who walked through, and me. Number 7, I shouldn't have gone deeper. I shouldn't have opened the final file. I shouldn't have clicked the link, make_your_own_door.html. When I did, I heard a lock click. The door in my apartment, stuck for 3 years, swung open. I ran, but no mirror in the house reflected me. I sat back at my laptop. The map appeared. A new red dot blinked. Name. Rebecca Kane, new role. The one who tells the story, WARANG. To the 8th, if you've listened this far. If those places seem familiar to you, if you received a strange link from someone missing, don't click it, don't replay the tape. Don't look in the mirror. Because the caretaker never goes looking. He just opens the door and waits for someone curious enough to enter. And when you step through, you'll tell the story next. Like I'm doing now. Only this time, you won't remember your name. Episode 8. The turn not on the map. I just wanted to turn the car around, but the moment my front wheels touched that road, I never drove out again. My name is Jamie Quinn. I'm 31, a freelance journalist specializing in investigative pieces about ghost towns, abandoned communities, and places where strange accidents occurred, but were never reported. I don't work for any particular publication. I sell stories based on themes, photographs, and real emotions from my journeys. People called me the Oddity Chaser. I liked that nickname. At least, I used to be, before I took that turn. Before, I couldn't get out. That day, I was driving from southern Utah back to Santa Fe, New Mexico, after visiting a small community where the military allegedly conducted biotesting in the 1960s. That article was never finished, never will be. I still had my recorder, raw photos, and handwritten notes. But now, no one needs them. I was driving on a deserted road, literally. No gas stations, no houses, not a single car in sight. It was late afternoon, and the sun was setting behind me, casting long shadows across the windshield. That's when I saw the sign. Road closed ahead. Construction, apparently. I slowed down, intending to turn around, but it was a straight, narrow road. No exits. I turned on the GPS, no signal. The offline map showed I was somewhere between 2 major junctions, both dozens of miles away. I looked around for a wide enough spot to turn the car. Then, to the left, like it had just risen from the dirt, there was a narrow, red dusty path. No name, no signposts, just a dirt road winding into low brush. I slowed down, peered closer. No chains, no warning signs, just silence. A silence so thick, I could hear my own heartbeat. I thought, I'll just turn in a few hundred feet and swing the car around. I signaled, turned the wheel, and the front tires touched soft, dry earth. From that moment on, I was no longer the one driving. I didn't realize it then. I just kept going, looking around, waiting for the road to widen so I could turn around. But it didn't. It didn't narrow either. It just continued. Endlessly. I drove for 5 minutes. then 10. No place wide enough to turn. This is weird, I thought. A path this small, but it goes on forever. I turned on the radio there. Checked my phone, no bars. GPS blinking, searching for location. And then, I started noticing things that were wrong. To my right, an old, tilted wooden sign, covered in dust. The letters were faded, but still readable. Red Hollow Road. I blinked. How could a named road not appear on any map? I stopped the car, took a picture of the sign, tried to send it to a friend of mine. He archives topographic maps. The message didn't go through. I put my phone away, turned on the headlights. Night was falling fast and naturally fast. Within minutes, the sun had vanished. The sky was a dull gray, like it had been dyed with lead. I decided to drive on, hoping to find someone, or at least a place wide enough to turn. Then I saw another sign. Same old wood, same faded letters. Red Hollow Road. I stopped the car completely, got out, walked over with my flashlight. Same letters, same peeling paint, same crack on the top left corner. Exactly like the sign I'd seen just minutes earlier. I got back in the car, tried to stay calm. Maybe it's a loop, I whispered, but my heart was racing. I kept driving. The air was thicker now. My headlights only pierced a few feet ahead. Fog began to form thin, cold, unmoving. It just hovered, like it was waiting. I checked the time, past 8 p.m., but the sky never turned completely dark. It was as if dusk had been trapped in a loop. I decided to turn back, even if it meant reversing hundreds of feet. But my rearview mirror showed nothing. No road, no ground, just a darkness as thick as tar. I gripped the wheel, shouted, "Enough." "What is this?" No one answered. I reversed a little, but no matter how far I went, only darkness followed. No landmarks, no lights, no dirt. I turned off the engine. The lights went out. I sat in the car, hands shaking. Then came the wind. But it wasn't from outside. The wind blew from inside the car. Light, like someone was exhaling softly right next to my ear. I turned on the cabin light. No one there, but on the passenger window, a handprint. Faint, thin, as if printed from the inside. I threw the door open, stepped outside, gasping. Then, up ahead, I saw headlights. Another car, parked slightly off the road. I ran over, an old Jeep, covered in dust. The door slightly ajar. Inside was a corpse slumped against the seatskin, sunken, eyes empty, hands still gripping the wheel. I stumbled back, screamed, but my scream was swallowed by the fog. I looked around and saw more vehicles, lining both sides of the road. Trucks, SUVs, bikes leaning against bushes. Each one with a person, or rather, what used to be a person. Some looked like they were still driving. Some had their heads slumped over the wheel. Some stared blankly out the window, mouths agape, but silent. I screamed again, ran, tripped. My hand touched something cold and hard, a phone. Old, still working. In the photo album were a series of selfies. I flipped through. Each picture showed a different person, but all looked like me. Brown hair, brown eyes, red jacket. None of them were me. They were other Jamies, copies, alternate versions. I threw the phone, crying. Then, in the distance, I saw someone walking toward me. Tall, long hair, red jacket. It was me, but not me. She approached, extended a hand. "This road only opens for those like us." I shouted, "What are you?" She didn't answer, just said, "Every Jamie turns at the same moment every year, every hour, every second, and every one of us thinks we're the first." I backed away, but behind me, more figures appeared. Another me, and another. Dozens of versions of myself emerged from the darkness, surrounding me, staring with hollow eyes. Not angry, not sad, just staring. I ran, but the road kept repeating. I passed the old Jeep, then again, then my own car, then the red hollow road sign for the third, fourth time. I realized I was trapped in a loop made just for me. Each time I went deeper, I split myself into a new fragment, and everything I saw, the corpses, the faces, the eyes, were past versions of me that never escaped. I don't remember when I collapsed. When I awoke, I was sitting in my car, hands on the wheel, radio hissing static. Outside, red dirt, gray skies, and eternal dusk. I wasn't afraid anymore. No more screaming. I just sat and waited. Then, from the distance, I saw headlights. Another car turning in. Its beams faint through the fog. I saw her through the windshield. Brown hair, red jacket. She slowed, confused. I smiled, opened my door, stepped out, waved her down. I don't remember my real name anymore. Maybe I never had one. All I know is, I'm the next one to stand at the bend, to wave, to welcome the newcomer, because this turn is not on any map, but it always finds the right person to take it. Episode 9. The photo from the automatic machine. I just wanted a souvenir photo, but the person in it wasn't me. My name is Marcus Vale, final year graphic design student at the Flagstaff Town Art School. I like going alone, not because I'm lonely, but because only those trips feel truly still. I usually take photos with an old film camera, looking for strange angles, odd details. I believe the difference isn't in the gear, but in the eyes and the unease inside. That spring break, I didn't go home. I drove north through Kebab National Forest. Simple reason, I heard rumors about an abandoned rest stop from the 80s, where an uninvestigated disappearance occurred. A classmate once found there a vending machine that printed the wrong date. I like those kinds of glitches. They're like cracks on the honest surface of the world. The night I reached that rest stop, it was cold. Fog spread like thin smoke. The lot was covered in dry leaves. The sign snapped in half. The restroom boarded up. But at the corner, next to a broken snack machine, I saw an old automatic photo booth. The kind of photo booth you saw in 90s malls. Velvet red curtain, wooden stool, a photo slit along the side. I was surprised it was still standing, not smashed. I stepped closer. There was power. The dim screen lit up when I touched it. Old interface appeared. Take a PHOTO $1, I chuckled. Totally my style. I inserted $1, pulled the curtain, sat on the stool, looked straight into the lens. Flash flared for a second. A crick sound echoed like a wheeze from a chest. Then the machine printed. I picked it up, light as a sticky note. But as I looked closer, I froze. The person in the photo wasn't me. It was another young man, blonde hair, beanie hat, eyes wide open, lips shut tight, as if enduring something. Behind him was the red curtain I was sitting in front of. Same position, same angle, but I wasn't there. It was entirely someone else. I thought it was a misprint. Some old photo not yet printed. I put in more money. Sat again. Flash again. Sound again. Photo slid out. This time it was a dark-skinned girl. Black hair. Eyes completely white. As if just finished screaming. A streak of dried blood at the corner of her mouth. I started to feel short of breath. I pulled out my phone, snapped a pic. But the screen showed nothing. Just white. I tried again. Still blank. I put in more money. One more time. I didn't know why. I just knew I had to know what was happening. The third photo printed. A child. Round face. Muddy. Bruised eyes. Cut. Lips. It stared straight at me, holding a piece of paper, as if showing someone. I screamed. Snatched the photo from the slit, threw it to the ground. I realized these photos weren't just misprints. They were someone calling for help, or trapped, or taken, or dead. I checked the money slot, exactly $1 left. I inserted it, hands shaking, chest stung with cold pulses. Photo slid out. I didn't grab it right away. I looked closely from afar. It was me, but something was wrong. I was sitting in the same spot, but my eyes were hollow, both pupils blurred, as if printed in water. My face was pale. Behind me, the red curtain was slightly pulled back by a hand, a bony hand, unclear whose I was being dragged away. Without knowing it, I left the booth, ran to the car, sped off from the rest stop, but there was no way out. I just kept circling. Every time I returned, the stop was still there, trees unchanged, wind always howling in the same direction, dust still floating like dry mist. Eventually, I decided to sleep in the car, locked all doors, told myself I'd leave in the morning, but that night, I dreamed. In the dream, I was sitting in the booth. Each time the flash burst, I transformed into every face I'd seen, into the woman with white eyes, into the child, into the blonde-haired boy, and finally, back into me, but the me that no one would recognize. When I woke, my car was still there, but the clock hadn't moved, phone battery dead, no birds, no sunlight. I tried stepping out. The sky was dense gray, air thick like jelly. I walked back to the photo booth, still lit, still waiting, and something inside me started to want to sit down. I couldn't resist. Like a thread was pulling me back. I stepped in, pulled the curtain. Seat still warm. Machine asked, "Take a PHOTO $1. I had no money left, but it printed anyway. Flash blinked. I closed my eyes. Photo slid out, but no one outside picked it up, because no one was outside anymore. And now, if you ever pass by that rest stop, look closely at the photo booth. If a photo falls out, and the person in it looks like you, don't pick it up, because when you bend down, someone will sit in your place." Episode 10. The Hourly Basement. I needed a place to rest for the night. They gave me the basement, but I wasn't the only one there. My name is Brian Cho, a Korean international student, 26 years old. After finishing my master's in New York, I decided to take a road trip across America before returning home. A kind of farewell. I like quiet, desolate places, places where Google Maps doesn't lie. I take photos, record videos of forgotten scenes, places people once lived, but no one remembers. And then, on a cold, rainy night in Pennsylvania, I stopped at a motel called Moonrest, and there was only a single faint pink neon light blinking the word vacancy outside. I almost drove past it if it weren't for the fact that my gas was almost gone and I had a fever, headache, heavy eyes. I needed to sleep, even just for a few hours. The front desk was inside a small room that smelled of damp mold. A balding, middle-aged man, shirt buttoned up to the neck, was dozing off behind a grimy glass. I knocked gently. He startled, looked up. His eyes were red, sunken, like he'd been pulled from a deep dream. He didn't ask much, just stared at me for a few seconds, then said, "We only have a basement room. $20 if you stay under 6 hours. After that, it's by the hour." I nodded, didn't ask. I was too tired to care which floor. Just needed a place to lie down. He handed me a key. No room number, only the letter B. I asked if he needed my ID. He shook his head. "No need. We don't keep guest records here." The stairs to the basement were at the end of the hallway. Flickering blue tube light. Walls damp with moss. No cameras. I dragged my suitcase down step by step. Cold. Getting colder. Cold enough to see my breath. When I reached the basement floor, I knew something was wrong. It didn't look like a normal basement. No windows, no hallway. Just one long space divided into booths by old wooden walls. No numbers. Each booth had a wooden door, slightly ajar. No locks. I picked one near the exit. Opened it. Inside, an old single bed, a small desk, a yellow lamp. The walls were covered with scribbles, like from a child or a madman. I didn't look closely, just put my suitcase in the corner, took off my coat, lay down. The lamp above flickered a few times, then went out. I fell asleep. I woke up to whispering, like someone talking behind the wooden partition. I looked at my watch past 3 a.m. I couldn't remember how long I'd slept. The whispering continued, soft, fast, like a prayer. I sat up, pressed my ear to the wall. I don't want to be here anymore. My time is up. Please. I stood up, opened the door. No one in the hallway. I walked along the row of booths. Every door was shut, but I felt it. Someone was walking behind me. When I turned, no one. I reached the end of the row. One booth was slightly open. Inside, an old man crouched in a corner, his head tapping gently against the wall. He whispered, "Don't let the clock run. Don't let the clock run." I stepped back, returned to my booth. That's when I noticed the watch I wore had stopped. The hands frozen at 2:39, but I was sure it was 1:12 when I fell asleep. I turned on my phone. No signal, no time. Panic started creeping in. I packed my things, decided to go back to the front desk. But when I opened the door, the hallway had changed. It was twice as long. The booths on either side had shifted places, wooden walls peeling, the lights above gone. I walked fast. Each step made the floor creak, and from the other booths, eyes peeked out, not looking at me, but looking through me. I ran, tripped, fell to the floor. A freezing hand pulled me up. It was the old man from before. He leaned close to my ear. "No one leaves until their time is up. They keep us here, as witnesses." I shoved him away, kept running, reached the staircase, but the stairs were gone. In their place, a smooth concrete wall. I pounded, screamed. No echo. I turned back. Now I saw clearly everyone here was a former guest, each trapped in a repeated behavior. The head tapper, the stander, the reader, the crier, all of them like broken robots. And then, I saw a copy of myself, sitting in the first booth, holding a camera, looking at the ceiling, exactly like me. Same clothes, same dirt stain on the shoe. I stepped into that booth. The copy didn't move. I touched it. It was real. Cold skin, but the heart still beating. I backed away. My heart raced. I understood. I had been here before, maybe dozens of times. Each time, I forgot everything. Forgot I ever went to this basement. And each new version was just another me who hadn't done enough time. I didn't know when I sat back down on the bed. I was tired, eyes blurred. And when I looked up, there was a new line of scribble on the wall. "Don't let them rent your mind by the hour." The light went out. I closed my eyes. If you ever go to the Moonrest Inn and they offer you the basement, don't accept. Even if it's cheap. Even if you only need a few hours sleep. Because down there, you don't pay by the hour. You pay with yourself. And when you walk out, if you walk out, there will be another you left behind in that basement to play the role for the next guest.